The title of today's lesson is Representing Numbers. I would like you to go ahead and write the title at the top of your page, which is Representing Numbers. Titling your notes makes it easy for you to know what the lesson was about, and if you're going back and trying to find that lesson, it's easy to find if you have a title at the top of the page. So go ahead and do that. I'll give you a few seconds to do that. Now the next thing is the objective. Now the objective is what I would like you to be able to do at the end of the lesson. And in this lesson it says, I will read and write 3-digit and 4-digit numbers. When you are talking about digits, you are talking about the amount of numbers in any number. So if I had the number 343, that is a 3-digit number because there are 1, 2, 3 numbers or 3 digits. A 4-digit number would be something like 3,542. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers or digits. So another word for digit would be the numbers in a particular number. Before we begin, I want to review something that you should already come to 4th grade knowing, and that would be base 10 blocks. The first base 10 block is the large cube. The large cube is worth 1,000. So since there's one cube, that means it is 1,000. The next one is they're called flats, and each of these flats is worth 100. Since there are 2 of them, that means it is 200. It's representing 200. The next are called the rods or the tens. So each one is worth 10. Since there are 4 of them, that means that is worth 40. And lastly, there are the small cubes, which represent 1. Since there are 7 of them, that means that number is 7. With your partner, I'd like you to answer the following question. Now, in the middle of your desk or between your desk, you are going to have some base 10 blocks that you're going to use to answer this question. And if you remember from the previous slide, we talked about what each of the values of the base 10 blocks is. So let's look at the question. It says, an airplane flies at an altitude of 1,358 feet. How can you represent this number using the smallest number of place value blocks? Now before you begin, it's always good to look at what the question is actually wanting you to answer. So it says, how can you represent this number using the smallest number of place value blocks? Now I would want you to pay attention to the word smallest number. That means that there's going to be more than one answer that you could come up with, but they're asking for the smallest number or the smallest amount of base 10 blocks, or place value blocks as they're known. You're going to be representing the number 1,358. So there's going to be more than one way to use base 10 blocks to show that number, but they want the smallest number or the least amount of base 10 blocks. So go ahead and solve that with your partner and see what you can come up with. So on your desk, you should find one of these place value charts that I would like you to glue into your notes. You're first going to need to cut out the entire rectangle first. And then you're going to cut each of these slits just along these lines so that you're going to have flaps that you're going to be able to fold up. So you're going to just cut along this line, each of these lines. Okay, and you don't want to go any farther up. You want to make sure that you do not just cut up to this line up here. Just want to cut up to here. You don't want to cut past that line. After you've cut it out, you are going to glue this section down into your notes so that then you're able to flip up the different place values. So you're going to glue this down into your notes. I'll give you a few minutes to go ahead and do that. Now I'd like you to write the number 1,358 underneath the correct place value. So for example, the 8 is in the ones place. So we're going to flip up and we're going to write it underneath the ones flat. The 5 is in the tens place, so we're going to write it underneath the tens flap. The 3 is in the hundreds place. You're going to write it underneath the hundreds flap, and the 1 is in the thousands place. Go ahead and write that number under each flap. Now the next part is you have some more flip charts to glue into your notes, and it's the different ways to show a number. There are 4 different ways to show a number. Now the first one is the standard form. Now standard form means it's standard. It's the way that we write numbers all the time. So the example would be 1,358. We're going to use that number for all the different types of ways to write a number. So just writing any old number is 1,358. That is the standard form. Standard just meaning the way you could remember it would be the regular way. I guess could be the way to say it, a regular way. The next one is the expanded form. Expanded form is another word as you're going to stretch out the number. You're going to be looking for the values of the number. So in this number right here, so if I look at this number right here, 1,358, I'm going to be looking at each of the values of the number. So if I look at the 1 is in the thousands place, so that means it is worth 1,000. So that's where we're going to put 1,000. Then you put a plus sign between each number. Then if you look at the 3 is in the hundreds place, so if there's 3 of them, that means it's 300. You look at the 5, it's in the tens place. That means there are 5 tens. Another way of saying 5 tens, 5 would be 50. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. The last number is in the ones place, which means that it is worth 8. It's just its regular value. Now the third way to write a number is written form, or another way to remember it is word form. Word form means you just literally write the number in words. So we have 1,358. You just say the word in your head and you write it down. The last way is base 10 form. This is taking the manipulatives, the base 10 blocks that we used earlier in the lesson, and you're going to draw pictures. So in this case, we're going to represent the 1,000 with the large cube. Then it's 300, so we're going to talk about our flats, which are squares. So these are your 300, because you have 1, 2, 3 of them. We're going to draw just lines for the tens, and since we have 5, this is your 50, because each of them is worth 10. And then our last one is 8. We have 8 of the little ones. Now you can use little squares. I like to use circles or dots because not to get mixed up with the squares that we use for the hundreds place. Go ahead and glue those flaps or the flip books into your notes, and underneath each of the flaps you are going to write exactly what I have written here, which would be underneath the standard form you're going to write 1,358. Underneath the expanded form you're going to write 1,000 plus 300 plus 50 plus 8. You're going to write the written form, and you're going to draw the picture for the base 10 blocks. So the last thing we're going to do is we are going to complete a task and use what we've learned today. And so I want you to cut out the task card and glue in your notes. The task card, I'm going to give you a few minutes to go ahead and do that. Now the task card says to use the month, day, and year of your birthday to make one large number. Write the number in each of the 4 ways we discussed, so don't forget 4. Label the place value of each digit in your number. So the 4 ways would be, if you look at your notes, it would be standard. I'm going to abbreviate it. We would be expanded. It would be word or written form, and it would be base 10, the base 10 blocks. So each month has a number that is associated with it. So you start with January, which is the first month of the year, that is 1, and all the way to December, which is the last month of the year, so that's 12. So you go ahead and count. So if you were born in March, that's the 3rd month of the year. If If you were born in October, that is the 10th month of the year. I was born in July, so if I count January, February, March, April, May, June, July, that is the 7th month. I was born on July 4th, so the day is 4. The year that I was born was 1981. You can figure out how old I am if you didn't already know. Now, if you think back to our objective, it said that you will be able to write a 3-digit and 4-digit number. Well, there are more than 4 digits in these numbers. So what I would like you to do is after you've come up with the month, day, and year of your birthday, I want you to come up with a 4-digit number and write it in the 4 different ways. So I am going to pick my month, which is 7, the day, 4, and the last 2 digits of the year that I was born, so 81. So 7481. So there is my standard form of the number, and it is 7,481. So if I think about the expanded form, I'm going to write the value of each number. So the 7 is in the thousands place, so that means it is worth 7,000. Then I'm going to add between each number. Then I have my 4. The 4 is in the hundreds place, so that means I have 400. Then I'm going to write the next number, which is 8, which is in the tens place, so that is 80. I have 8 tens, so that's 80. My last number is in the ones place, so I'm just going to keep it as a 1. I'm going to add. Then word form is you just exactly how you say it, but you write it in word form. So I have 7,400 and so on. I'm running out of room. 400, and then I would write 81. The last thing is the base 10. That's when I'm going to draw my picture. So I need to have 7 of the cubes, which is going to take some time, but you can do it. 7 cubes, the big cubes. And then I would do 7 of those. I would do 400, so 4 of the flats. I would do 8 lines to talk about my rods, and then 1 for the 1. Now, obviously, your picture should be nicer, but this is what I want you to do with your month, day, and year. Now, as a reminder, you just need to come up with a 4-digit number. You do not have to use all of them. Now, if you'd like to challenge yourself, and that's supposed to be a T, if you would like to challenge yourself, you may use all of the numbers. So I could have written it this way, which would have been 741,981. It is up to you. It is more work, but if you want to challenge yourself, you may use all of the numbers. But our objective today was to write a 3 and 4-digit number, so this is the requirement of just writing a 4-digit number. So go ahead and try that on your own.